So I'm here with my good friend Sean Hyatt, and we've done one of these little videos before about CO2 in your home. So tell us, just review a little bit. When did God talk to you about this, and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so we were a part of the original CO2 experiment in the month of October in 2009.
Yeah.
And right around Christmas time and New Year's, I felt this sudden prompting from the Lord that we should do this as a family on a daily basis. I'm married, have 3 kids, 2 boys, 7 and 10, and our daughter who's 1, and our little dog. And so all of us together since the 1st of January have been doing this on as close to daily basis as possible. Now it's mid-May, so we've been at it for 4.5 months. And it's been really great in a lot of different ways.
So does it get old or boring? I mean, for your kids, or that's what, 4 or 5 months you've been doing this.
Yeah, the practice of it, checking in, things like that. We try to keep it fresh because just the structure of it can get a little same old, but what it produces, the intimacy between us as a family, as well as the what we're hearing from the Lord, the worship that flows out of it, the teaching that flows out of it, the just everything that flows out of it, it never gets old. And so we haven't found a better model, so we're sticking with this one for now. So,
all right.
But yeah, it has been very sustainable, which is a big thing. We were just going to do it for maybe a month, see how it goes, but didn't want to stop, and we've been doing it ever since. So it's been a very sustainable thing for our family.
Great. So tell us some stories about your kids. I mean, you got pretty young kids.
Yeah.
And what has it meant to them, and what's it meant to Jessica, and what are some things that have flowed out of this for you and your family?
Yeah. Well, just the disciplines of naming our emotions and sharing our emotions and sharing how we're feeling has been a big thing. And then learning how to listen to the Lord, all of us as individuals as well as a group, has been a big thing. Trying to think of some little, some things along the way that we've seen happen. We did end up, at first we put a piece of paper out in the middle and a pen, and anybody could go up and write something down they were hearing from the Lord during our 5 to 10 minutes of listening that we do. Eventually we decided we all just need a little journal, so we all have a journal and a pen now. Let's see. But, just lots of little things, different things that we've heard from the Lord. It's been so much, probably every few days we hear something fairly significant that we end up acting on. And sometimes it's direction and worshiping the Lord together, a song that we just sing together, some scripture that we read, something we explain.
And that comes out of the listening time, so like a verse will come to mind, or a
Absolutely.
song will come to mind, something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're very musical people, so a lot of times somebody feels a song on their heart, and so we sing.
So even your kids, I mean, sometimes they have a song?
Absolutely.
Really? How old are they again?
7 and 10 are the boys, and of course our daughter is just along for the ride for now. A story did just come to mind, and that was Jessica was sort of facilitating it, so we take turns leading it, even let the boys do it, so they know, okay, now we're going to do this.
So a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old can lead
That's right.
the CO2 in your house?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was an important part to me, was making it reproducible, making it something that anybody could do.
Yeah.
Anybody could facilitate. And me facilitating in such a way that they would feel like they could do that too.
Yeah, beautiful.
So me not making it too complex.
Yeah.
And then they go, I can't do that. So I purposefully keep the statements short, simple, to the point, and then put it back in the hands of the family. And now they've learned to do that too. So, but one really cool thing that happened a week or two ago was Jessica wanted to sing Amazing Grace, so we sang it together as a family. She actually wanted to do that before we listened, and that was just her wish. So we sang, and then she said, let's take 5 minutes to listen together. Immediately, my oldest son, Caleb, who's 10, started furiously writing. And he wanted to share as soon as Jessica said, okay, now it's time for us to share together, he wanted to share immediately. So he did, and he felt like as soon as we started listening, the Lord put a song in his heart to the tune of Amazing Grace, but with completely different words.
Wow.
And he felt like it was the Lord, and it just flooded into his head, and he wrote it down. And
So he
he
got the words himself.
Yeah, he did. So the Lord gave him a song that he had never, to the tune of Amazing Grace, but with words that were
10-year-old.
directly from the Lord. Yeah, and it was very much a God thing. And so we said, well, go ahead and sing it. We want to hear it.
Yeah.
So he has his journal, and he starts singing it.
Oh,
and
man.
the words are, I love you. I love you. You are my son. You are wonderful. Uh-huh. And as you grow, you'll become strong if you remain in me.
Yeah.
And those were the new words to
Wow.
the tune of Amazing Grace. And it struck me because the positioning of the words were the Lord talking to him,
Yeah.
and affirming him and encouraging him. And so I didn't doubt that was from the Lord, and it meant a lot to him. So that was one of the many little milestones that we've had along the way.
Yeah. So one of our phrases is that worship flows out of listening, and another one is that mission or outreach flows out of listening as well. Have you seen that happen with your family, where there are things that have gone beyond your family to care for or impact other people?
Yeah, absolutely. Numerous things. And all of them have come from different sources. Like one time, Jessica, my wife, had a dream about something. We talked about the dream and what we thought it meant. And me and Caleb agreed that it meant we should go and buy some clothes for this orphan who we support on a monthly basis at a certain orphan's home, basically. And so we did. Jessica went out and bought a bunch of girls' clothes. About a week later, we received a letter from the orphanage requesting clothing for a bunch of their kids. They were running low. And that was kind of a cool confirmation that the need was there. We didn't know about the need. The Lord told us about the need, and we were acting on it before we even received the request. So,
very cool.
So a lot of little things like that, things we're supposed to give to, things we're supposed to act upon. That's one example.
That's great. You've had opportunities to share this with other people or involve other people with it?
Yeah, that's been one of the really exciting things for me. Is as soon as the Lord put this on my heart, I felt like, yes, this is a seed. This is a way that we can spread this message, because we have people over for dinner all the time. Friends come over, etc. And if we're going to do this, they're going to end up rubbing against it or being a part of it on some evenings.
So you might actually include them in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, if a friend says, hey, I want to come over for dinner, or we invite them over for dinner, and they're a close friend, and we feel comfortable with inviting them into it, we say, hey, just so you know, we normally do this after we finish cleaning up from dinner. It doesn't take long, 15, 20 minutes, but, are you okay with being a part of that? And they say, absolutely, I'd love to. So yeah, then it's not a family of 4 or 5 doing it. It becomes 6 or 7. We do the exact same thing as we would do if it's just the 4 of us, and it really encourages the person who joins us in on it, as well as sort of planting the seed in them to be doing it in their own household. Wow. So a couple different times. One was my mother. It was her birthday, and she came over for a special birthday dinner. And so I texted her and said, hey, Mom, we normally do this. Would you like to do it tonight as well with us? She said, oh, we'd love to. And it was it made her birthday extra special to have a time of worship with her kids and grandkids on her birthday.
Wow.
So much more special than just the cake. And dinner was the Lord meeting with us as well. So, yeah. And one last story, and that was, this just happened last week. We were invited to Marty and Jacqueline Reiswig's house church gathering on a Wednesday night, and decided we weren't going to go. And then suddenly Wednesday morning, Jacqueline, I think, emailed my wife and said, hey, it looks like it's just going to be us. They weren't having any of their normal church family, weren't able to come. And so it was just going to be them. They said, do you want to just come over for dinner? And we were still free, so we said, sure, let's just go over for dinner. And then I texted Marty a little later and said, hey, we normally do this. What if we just did it all together at your house after dinner? He said, oh, that'd be great. Excuse me. So we went and did it, and the Lord ended up speaking to just about everybody.
Wow.
The same thing. And it was nothing in particular. It was just the Lord being there, saying, I'm with you. In various ways, he demonstrated this. And then afterward, Marty shared something that just hit me really hard. He said, this morning, I feel like the Lord spoke to me during my quiet time and challenged me to start doing this with my family.
Ah.
He said, but I didn't share it with him this morning. I felt kind of, it just went under the radar.
Yeah.
He said, and then now we're all here doing it together, and the Lord reminded him of that. And so suddenly, the Lord orchestrated it. None of us knew it was going to happen until the last minute. We're all CO2ing together with both of our families. And the Lord had spoken to him about that just this morning.
So we could call this the spontaneous expansion of the church. It just multiplied almost on its own.
Yeah, this was nothing that any of us put together. It was totally the Lord. And we didn't know it until at the very last minute at the end of the evening, but the Lord had orchestrated that meeting.
Cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, involving others is so simple.
Yeah.
So
one last thought on this. Sometimes thinking about maybe a whole country like the United States and desiring to see revival and transformation occur. A simple way to think about that we've talked about is this phrase: every home, a church. So if every household that has Christians in it began to understand that they are a church and began to function that way, CO2 being a very simple way to do that, what difference do you think that would make if that ever happened, if that ever caught on in this country? Every home, a church.
Oh boy. Yeah, if we took every follower of Christ, everyone who believes in the Lord and is walking with God, and set them at work, every household, listening to him on a daily basis together, as well as to one another, and revolutionary. Just imagine thousands and thousands of God appointments being set up on a daily basis, and thousands of God inspired projects happening everywhere. I think it would be revolutionary.
It would affect marriages. It would affect children, discipling children.
Absolutely.
It would overflow into the community and all kinds of little and large missional projects.
Absolutely. Just thinking about it, it would be massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say about CO2s and what you've discovered about that? Any other thoughts?
Just that, if you're one of those people who's ridden on the fence with it and hasn't quite jumped into trying it, that trying it is a good way to start.
What do you mean trying it? Just how would you, if you were to counsel somebody on that, what would they do to try it?
Try it for a week, try it for a month, whether that's with a good friend over the phone on a daily basis or whether that's with your spouse. If you don't have kids, just you and them on a daily basis, or if you have kids, doing it. But it's not the type of thing where you have to go, we're going to do this forever.
Yeah.
Try it for a week or for a month or whatever and see how it goes and go from there.
Great advice. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.